I'm coming to you from the Thompson Okanagan Observatory in Canada. Just a little bit about where we are. So we're in southern interior of British Columbia, very diverse area covering about 71,000 kilometers. We like to refer to ourselves as the size of Ireland. We do have 120 communities within this region, 33 of them Indigenous communities, and about 3,500 tourism businesses. So a very diverse landscape. We have everything from the tallest peak in the Canadian Rockies to a semi-arid climate in the Okanagan Desert. I do want to acknowledge that we live in a very special area, rich in Indigenous culture, and our region lies on the unceded and ancestral traditional territory of 3 interior Salish nations, the Syilx, the Secwepemc, and the Nukaplim peoples. And we're very honored to work, live, and play on these lands. We are a not-for-profit organization governed by a board of directors, representing the business community and community interests of tourism in this region. And we are one of 6 regional destination management organizations in the province. We do have funding directly from the province of British Columbia, and we work directly as well with the Ministry of Arts, Tourism, Arts, Culture, and now Sports. So all of those priorities, all of the priorities of those organizations wrap into our priorities as well. Originally, we were a member-based organization, and that changed in 2009. After 46 years, we became a stakeholder model. So all the 3,500 businesses in the region are represented. About 1,400 are actually registered. And of those, through various formulas, 210 have a voting position. We are the stakeholder model. They must be involved directly in tourism business. So they must get 80% of their revenue from a tourism activity. They have to comply with all the municipal, regional, district, provincial regulations. They're required a minimum amount of insurance, and they have related incorporation and certificate license. So that's how we determine our stakeholder definition. And again, as all of you have said in your presentations, we have a wide variety of stakeholders, everything from accommodation right down to our communities, but we include parks, our learning facilities are involved with our observatory, and our events, our tour operators, etc. In 2012, we embarked on a regional destination strategy. It was the first of its kind in the country. It took us 18 months. It involved 1,800 stakeholders, and we went community by community engaging with them over that 18-month period. We had 48 input sessions, and at the end of that, we had a very clear direction from our stakeholders on their priorities as well as their concerns and challenges. And that, translated into our strategy. Having said that, that was 2012. So in 2020, excuse me, right before the pandemic, we finished a 2-year refresh of it and presented that in March of 2020, Embracing Our Potential 2.0, which was really committed to fostering sustainability and resilience, broadening the story of the region, minimizing seasonality, excuse me, and dispersing the visitors throughout the region. Sorry, I don't know why I'm losing my voice. This led to the development of various corridor plans. So we then went from having our strategy, which was regional and based, to having 7 corridor plans that address specific issues in the specific areas within this very big region. We also had a number of other development plans that came out of there, including a rail trail strategy, a community catalyst funding initiative, upgrades to our visitor centers, and some funding that I'm going to talk about in a little bit here. So over the past 2 years, one of the things that we've done is met every other week with our community DMOs. And through the pandemic, that's all been virtual. However, with those 90 communities, we see about half of them in all the calls, which is a great indication of participation. And it's really enabled us to understand the local challenges, support the communities through advocacy, and bring that to government and regional, bring that to the government, the concerns of the areas and the priorities. We formed over the course of the pandemic with our regional partners, the BCRTS, which is a secretariat, a coalition with the not-for-profit organizations to be that trusted voice for business communities and residents. And through that, we've also engaged with the BCRTS to become a sustainable regions as well. So we became a biosphere sustainable destination in 2017, and our other regional partners have now embarked on that, and some of them have now accomplished that and are working towards that. But it gave us a very strong voice to government to bring the concerns that our entire province had. The foundational principles that the province has adopted and that have come out of the dialogue with the regions are 5 foundational principles that they are embarking on in all government departments: putting people first, lasting and meaningful reconciliation with our Indigenous communities, equity and anti-racism, a better future through fighting climate change and meeting our greenhouse gas reduction commitments, and a strong sustainable economy that works for everyone. And those have been really articulated this past year by the government, and those have been because of the work that's been done by the regions. We like to say our region, but by all the regions. Sorry, now it's not advancing. Try now. Through this coalition, we have met as a group every week. We've also met every week with our government ministry. So that's been an incredible commitment on everyone's behalf. We've created a research project that has developed impact reports coming from our stakeholders, and those are bundled into documents that are provided to the government on a monthly basis, and then we discuss them at our weekly meetings in order for them to come up with policy and financial assistance to the industry. We also meet weekly as a group with Go2HR, which is an HR advocacy group for our industry, the British Columbia DMOA Association, which represents all the communities, the Tourism Industry Association of BC, and the BC Hotel Association. So those partners have all also committed over the last 20 months to meeting weekly, and that continues. We, as I said, meet with the province on a weekly basis, exchanging information, highlighting the current issues, identifying what business supports we need, and understanding government priorities. What that's translated to is the most important part. So we've had regional infrastructure support grants in this past year of $10.5 million to fund 25 projects through the Community Economic Recovery Infrastructure Program. And those were all evaluated based on sustainability priorities. So the selection of those activities that were funded had to meet those criteria that were not only in our observatory, but those 5 that I mentioned that the province has adopted. And we played an active role in selecting those projects. We also in 2021 received 2.3 million just in each region. Total received 2.3 million, as did our other 5 partners. And that's enabled us to fund 15 projects through the Targeted Regional Tourism Development Initiative. And again, those funds went to projects that we felt advanced the issues that we identified in our strategy. So I think those are 2 really good examples of how the advocacy worked directly with government to be able to deliver something on the ground. The challenges, we represent 120 communities and several sectors with different needs in large geographic area. There are finite funding opportunities, and so we have to be very targeted in how we identify those and make sure that the government understands how they can impact this region. We have overlapping priorities, and we know that, so we have to again make sure that we identify what those are to maximize the resources available. We in Canada have gone through 2 elections, one federally and one provincially during the pandemic, which has been incredibly challenging because we've had to re-educate ministers and bureaucrats on some of the challenges around tourism. And as recently as this week, we have a new deputy minister for tourism in the province, and we have a new provincial federal minister. So those are all things that have certainly been a challenge for us. And ensuring the ongoing community engagement and support for tourism through what has been, as we've all said over the course of the morning, a very challenging 20 months. And then we've spent a lot of time assisting industry in reimagining the future of tourism. We're working on a data platform that one of Dirk's former colleagues is working on with us to be able to measure all of these inputs that we have from industry and help them identify that measurement is much more than just an economic outcome. Moving forward, we will continue this engagement that has taken place with the government and the communities. Integrated planning processes are continuing with Destination BC to align our priorities and again, make sure we maximize financial opportunities. We have a real focus as a province and certainly as a region on diversity, equity, and inclusion as a priority. Continuing to build awareness and recognition on the value of tourism and integrate sustainability in the lens in all of our initiatives. So that is a really brief summary. Our key words in this region are inclusion, reconciliation, communication, integration, collaboration, authenticity, and sustainability. And with that, Dirk, I will turn it back to you. I think that was my quickest review of our observatory, but I know that time was of the essence.